Hi, this is Joy. I'd like to talk to you today about partnership and intimacy and how some of us are just wired to need this in our lives. Uh, so there are a number of different numerology and astrology factors that could influence whether you're one of these people or could represent might be another way of putting it. But in any case, so one of the main things is going to be the numerology life path number, but not just life path number. There's other important numbers in numerology, the heart's desire, the expression number. There's all sorts of things, but the life path might be the main one as far as this sort of thing goes. They're all important in their own ways, though, of course. And the significant numbers for needing partnership in order to thrive in life are 11 and 2. So 11 is 2, but it's also 11. Um, and then there are times when a number is just a straight 2, like it's not 11 2, it's just 2. So both 11s and 2s are very, very, very wired to be in partnerships. Partnership is a really big deal for people with these life path numbers, or if these numbers are, otherwise prevalent in your numerology chart. In astrology, it's the 7th house and 8th house for partnership and intimacy, and Libra and Scorpio. I would say probably more so the 7th and 8th house, because that's those areas of life. But Scorpio and Libra also, for sure. So if you're somebody who has a lot of placements in Libra or important placements in Libra, that would be like your ascendant, your Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, or Mercury. And the same thing, and North Node, that's another very important one. And the same thing applies to Scorpio, with more of a focus on intimacy rather than the partnership side of it. So if you're somebody who has one of those placements in either the 7th or 8th house or Libra or Scorpio, you also are to some extent wired for partnership and intimacy. And if you have like multiple placements in those signs or houses, then even more so. I could also talk about typology, but all of the stuff in typology is, just another way of explaining the same stuff that we see in numerology and in astrology. So I'm going to skip over that. And all right, so the meat of this video is like, what do you do when you're wired for partnership? This is kind of an awkward thing in our modern society, because modern society very much invalidates this as a healthy need. If you talk to just the average person who doesn't have any kind of background in psychology about interdependence, when people are dependent on each other in their lives, they'll call it codependence, because it's been pathologized to need partnership. But there's a really big difference between interdependence and codependence. Codependence is needing to be needed because you essentially don't believe you're worthy of love without having some kind of utility, being able to help the person in some way, or make them better for your presence with them. And there's, with it, codependency, there's also enabling. So enabling is where we do things to help people that actually in the long run doesn't help them, because we're like, for example, if you're with somebody who's an alcoholic and you cover up for, the natural consequences of their behavior by, say, calling the boss and saying, oh yeah, Bob's got food poisoning, he's not going to be able to make it in today, when really he's hungover, that is enabling. And there's a lot of different forms that this can take. And it's not always with addiction. Sometimes it's with mental health issues, or sometimes it's not even anything quite so extreme. But regardless, one way or another, you are protecting somebody from the natural consequences of their behavior, because you need to be needed. Essentially, that's codependency. Interdependency, however, is being part of a team, and like, you're good at this, I'm good at this, and there's equality and harmony and mutual appreciation and respect, and you're both you both want to be there, and you're both grateful for what the other is offering, and also happy to offer. There's a healthy give and take relationship, and equanimity, and there's like covering for each other's strengths and weaknesses in a way that's like more of a teamwork thing, rather than codependency as I just described it. So I did not mean to rant about the difference between codependency and interdependency so much just now, but that's all right. I'm just going to keep rolling. All right, so with partnership, interdependency is a really crucial part of the partnership. And it's also important to balance the opposite signs and houses. So without a healthy first house, you can't really have a healthy second house. Without a healthy second house, you can't really have a healthy eighth house. So this brings me to kind of what I was getting at, how society really invalidates the need for partnership. There's this push, like even in like spiritual circles and in modern psychology, that you need to learn how to be healthy and happy by yourself if you are ever going to be healthy and happy with a partner. And you need to love yourself before other people will love you. I have a lot to say about these ideas. All right, so first of all, you are worthy of love no matter what. Period. Full stop. Mic drop. You are worthy of love. People who are not in a position to be in a happy, healthy relationship because they don't love themselves are just as worthy of love as anybody else. It's more that they have like mental blocks. They have walls up that don't allow them to receive the love that others may offer them, or make it feel dangerous to really connect with people, or make it feel like they are not truly loved when actually they are. So it's not that no one's going to love you unless you love yourself. It's not that you don't deserve love unless you're healthy. That is most certainly not true at all. And it's not even that like no one's going to want to be with you if you don't like yourself. Like none of that is true. What it is that if you want to have a happy, healthy relationship, that can be a really challenging thing to do while you dislike yourself and while you're not taking good care of yourself and while you're in a state of chronic nervous system dysregulation. So polyvagal theory talks about how we have these different modes of nervous system activation. There's like fight mode and flight mode, and we all know about those. There's also freeze mode, where under extreme stress, we actually like don't do anything at all, and chronic freeze looks like depression, and maybe that's what a lot of depression really, well, that's what a lot of depression actually is just being so overwhelmed that you just can't do much of anything at all. And then there's also like a fawn mode, like a people pleasing mode, where it's like, hey, I'll be really nice and do whatever you want me to and tell you things you want to hear. Just, don't be mean to me. Or, meet my needs. Like, I'm going to do all this stuff for you, so please meet my needs. Like that's also fawn mode. And when when our nervous system is activated into one of these states, which, like I said, can be a chronic thing or it can be a temporary thing, the part of our brain that's responsible for social engagement and connection with others and recognizing cues on people's faces that signal that it's safe to trust them. Those parts of the brain are offline because there's a perceived threat, even if the threat is, essentially inside of us because of trauma. It's like internalized. We've internalized the threat and it's always with us. Even when that's the case, there's this like inability to recognize when it's safe to form bonds with people and when it's not safe to form bonds with people. If we're if the part of our brain that tells us like, yes, this person is trustworthy based on the visual cues on their face, if that part of it like isn't getting as much focus in our like mental activity, then like how do we know when somebody isn't safe to trust? We don't. And if we've had a lot of trauma in our backgrounds, then maybe it feels like home when somebody's not trustworthy. I also did not mean to tangent in that direction either, but in any case, imprinting is also another component to this. So we can definitely like be more attracted to people who remind us of our parents in some way. Especially like whatever, like if you are like more into one particular sex than the other, then whichever sex, like the parent of whichever sex that is particularly going to be a strong influence in your imprinting. So anyways, there are ways to heal these things. And it's not like a light switch. It's not a yes, no, on, off kind of a thing. It's something that happens over time. But I myself have experienced really significant healing and growth and moving from just recreating all sorts of traumatic experiences for myself to really finding nourishment in relationships. So I know it's possible. And like I said, it's a process. So, if you have CPTSD, if you had a really traumatic childhood, there are ways to heal and to heal your imprinting. Like I used to be attracted to really depressive people because my dad was very depressed while I was growing up. And I healed that pattern, and I'm no longer attracted to depressive people. It can be done. So getting back to this idea that, no one's going to love you unless you love yourself. It's not that. And it's not that like people aren't going to be attracted to you unless you're like healed, which by the way is also a process, not, it's like a direction of travel, not a place where you ever fully arrive. The amount of suffering we experience in life can be reduced tremendously. But, as long as we're alive in this form on this earth, stuff's going to come up sometimes. It's a thing, it's life, it happens. But when it comes to relationships, there's something to be said sometimes for like taking some time to yourself and, just seeing what you're like outside of a relationship. And there's certainly something to be said for not getting into rebound relationships, because if you haven't really grieved the loss of your previous relationship before you get into a new one, you're bringing all sorts of unprocessed trauma into that relationship. And some relationships are very healing in nature, and you're going to process that stuff together. So no judgment there if that's the case. But I used to compulsively like leave a relationship, or like as soon as I left a relationship, I'd be looking for my next one. And that was problematic. Like years would go by and I would realize that I was still pretty sad about the previous breakup, because I never gave myself a chance to get over it. I just like, got myself focused on this new relationship energy, and focused on my new partner, and never took the time to heal from the previous one. Having said that, one of the stages of grief is having new positive experiences, and there are some attachment wounds that only heal through attachments with other people. So taking some time to yourself and taking time to heal and grieve the loss of a relationship, that's certainly a valid thing. But I don't think that the process can be like, I think part of the process involves building new relationships at a certain point. And I'm really a huge advocate on trusting yourself when it comes to this stuff. So if it feels right to be in a relationship, then it's right for you, And I'm not talking about what feels good. Like I said, that new relationship energy can feel really, really good. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I just had this realization about how Plutonian relationships that go through a lot of death and rebirth cycles are going to constantly have this like new relationship energy on some level, like each time they are reborn. Different video. Anyways, I'm going to have to make a video about that at some point. What I'm getting at here is that, if it feels right, not necessarily good, but right, deep down, like you have peace about it, that you should be with somebody, and that person is, wants to be with you, then it is right. Even if you got out of a 10-year relationship a week ago, I don't care. Whatever feels right to you deep down, that is right for you. Trust yourself. All right. So society tells us that If you can't be happy when you're alone, then that's bad. I beg to differ, because some people really are just wired for partnerships. So my life path number is 11. I have my North Node in my 7th house, conjunct my descendant. I have 3 placements in Libra. And depending on how I draw the chart, 2 of them are in the 7th or they're in the 8th. The other one's always in the 8th. And I have my moon and another planet in Scorpio. So there's a lot of focus on relationships and intimacy in my chart, like a lot. It's something that's very, very important in my life. And the reality is that I do need partnership. I do need the companionship, the teamwork, the even just like having someone around to like talk to, you know, like it's not good for me to live alone. I shouldn't live alone. It's bad for me. And I think there are people who can just be happy and thrive and be well when they're single or when they're in a relationship. Like they can do either. Not everybody is like that though, and that's okay. So the difference between the healthy version of this and the unhealthy version of it. Oh, my thing, it's making noise. I don't like that. My apologies. I could tell myself that I'm going to go back and edit that. That's totally not a thing that's going to happen. So anyways, I'm just going to keep talking. So it's unhealthy when you have to be in a relationship all the time and cannot be alone. When you stay in relationships that aren't good for you, because you're afraid of being alone or because you think that you need that particular person. When you rush into relationships that maybe aren't the best for you because you don't want to be alone or just like really want to be with somebody. When you get super stuck on a particular person, like it has to be that person. When that person doesn't feel the same, also unhealthy. When you think that all of your problems in life are going to be solved by the right partner or the right relationship, also not healthy. I've done all of these things. The healthy version of this is acknowledging that this is a need that I have in my life. I need to have touch, human touch in my life. I need to have good sex regularly. That's a need for me. I need to have a harmonious and healthy and mutually fulfilling relationship where we just love each other's company and have great teamwork and are partners in life. This is a need for me. Without these things, I'm not going to be my best, not even close. I'm not going to thrive. And that's okay. You know what? That is just fine. So the key then is acknowledging that this is a need without rushing into anything or staying with somebody who isn't good for me. Trusting that this need will be met in the right way at the right time, and doing what I can do on my end to be ready for that to happen, to create opportunities for that to happen. So what does that look like? Well, if I am thinking, I've got a wonderful partner who's going to show up at any point in time, like it could happen tomorrow, it could happen in a week, a feeling of like happiness or even excitement or gratitude, or at least peace with that, can be a very comforting thing. I'm very into doing magic, and by doing magic, what I mean is tuning into the energetic frequency of whatever it is, and just opening myself to it and letting that energy fill me, and attuning my own energy to that energy, so that I just kind of automatically do the things I need to do to make it a reality. And I attract the, if there's somebody else that I have in my life or that I meet who is like very a good match to this energy, they're going to see that energy and be like, that, I like that, I want that. So it can attract others to me and create opportunities. And if I'm focused on that energy, I will recognize when something is not right, and I will recognize when it is, and be ready to take action, like, yes, this is the thing, this is right. So doing magic of this kind, seeing yourself with a partner. And I would say that it's important not to make it a specific person unless that person is on board with it. Like, don't imagine yourself like with like a specific person when you do this, um, because it's a violation of their free will. Now, if they've told you like yes, let's do this magic together, then that's different. As long as it feels right, go for it, do the thing. Otherwise, just keep it vague. It doesn't need to be a particular person, maybe a particular type of person, but not that exact person. um, and yeah, just go ahead and attune yourself to that, and then expect a person to show up and take that place in your life at any point in time. And part of this is getting your life ready in practical ways. Like, let's say you really want a partner to live with you. um, are you actually like ready in practical ways for that to happen? Like, do you have your home organized in such a way that if your future partner were to walk into it tonight, they'd feel comfortable? Or or is there clutter and whatever, whatever, uh, in your home, that like you wouldn't want that person to see? Also, are you emotionally ready to deeply connect with someone? There's a lot of inner work that we can do to um, feel safe with ourselves, so that it makes it safe for us to really be vulnerable with other people. Because if we're not safe with ourselves and we're looking for safety in another person, then if something goes wrong, we're completely devastated. But if we're safe with ourselves and we find a relationship and bond with another person, and then something goes wrong, it hurts, and it takes time to grieve, and that's okay. That's an important thing to do. But we're not devastated. We're still essentially okay, and we'll be able to heal from that and move on to another attachment, another relationship. So it's pretty important to be ready, to get ready for the partner that's coming for you. Are you excited? Can you feel it? Can you feel that person's coming into your life? And if you have one of these charts that's just like super wired for intimacy and partnership, then I don't want to just be like, it's gonna happen, but like, come on, it's gonna happen. Like if you're wired this way, then just get yourself ready. Like, how can you be the best possible partner you could be? Um, keep your sex life healthy too, even if you don't have a partner. There are ways of doing that. In fact, you can practice tantra, 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 without a partner. You can, like, as you feel the sexual energy build, you can move it into your heart chakra, or you can move it throughout your whole body and just, continue to let it build and fill your whole body. So then you end up having a whole body orgasm. You can do that solo. You can read books about communication and about relationships and whatever else it is that you may need to improve your skills on in order to do well in a partnership. You can build those skills now. You can work on that stuff. You can also take good care of your health and your body. This is another important thing. Like, if you were at the grocery store and met your like future like life partner, would you want that person to like would you want to look the way you're looking when you go out to the grocery store when you meet that person? Like, do you feel good about the way you look to attract a partner? And again, this isn't about worth or deserving. It's about getting yourself ready to have the relationship that you want to have, putting yourself in the position to step into this relationship at any point in time. Be ready for it. Make that opportunity. Create the opportunity for that to happen by being ready for it. And like financially too, are you in a financial position to be a good partner? um, what does that mean to you? Like, what would your like finances, this is eighth house stuff, what would your joint finances with a partner look like? And is there anything that you can do to improve your situation so that or just change, maybe not even improve, but just change your situation so that you're ready to step into a partnership? Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that it's necessary to like, or even a good idea necessarily to meet someone and just be like, yes, this is the person, I'm going all in. I'm, right off the bat. Like, relationships are built in stages. You need the foundation, and then, you gradually build a solid relationship over time. Usually sometimes you just meet someone and like it's just, you just know right away that this is the person, and it's good and it's mutual and you can build your lives together. Even when that's the case, though, I would say that unless it like really feels right to both of you deep down, it's still a good idea to build in stages so that you have a really firm, solid foundation to live your lives from which your partnership can thrive. So yeah, like the more you know yourself and what you want, what your values are, the more you're going to be able to recognize what you have to offer and what you want from others in relationships and in partnerships. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. I mean, whatever, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Are you an 11? Do you have a lot of Libra placements? Do you have a lot of Scorpio placements? 7th house, 8th house, life path number 2? Any of these things, let me know, and let me know if this resonates. Thanks.